Why do we often trust our instincts only to realize later that they misled us? And how can slow, deliberate thinking help us make better decisions? In this video, we'll take a deep dive into Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, a fascinating exploration of how our minds work, filled with insights that will forever change the way you think. This is a detailed summary, perfect for anyone curious about the book but pressed for time. If you enjoy this content, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for more summaries, and let us know in the comments which book we should cover next, or share your thoughts on this one. Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman explores the dual processes of human thought and decision-making, introducing the concepts of System 1 and System 2. These two systems govern how we think, reason, and act, and understanding them is key to improving decision-making in every aspect of life. System 1 is fast, intuitive, and automatic. It governs activities like recognizing faces, interpreting emotions, and reacting to dangers. It's always on, working in the background to make quick judgments based on limited information. But System 2 is slow, deliberate, and effortful. It takes over when complex reasoning or calculations are needed, like solving a math problem or planning your future. However, it's lazy. It avoids work unless absolutely necessary. To illustrate, imagine you hear rustling in the bushes while walking in the forest. System 1 instantly alerts you, assuming danger. Maybe it's a predator. System 2 steps in to analyze further. Could it just be the wind? While this interaction often works seamlessly, it can also lead to mistakes, especially when System 1 dominates and biases our thinking. How System 1 leads us astray. 1. Jumping to conclusions. System 1 loves shortcuts and quick answers, but these often lead to errors. For example, you meet someone at a party who has a firm handshake and makes strong eye contact. Without any real evidence, you might conclude they're trustworthy and competent. This substitution bias shows how we answer an easier question. Do they seem trustworthy instead of a harder one? Are they trustworthy based on evidence? Second, cognitive biases. Biases are systematic errors in thinking that arise from the shortcuts System 1 takes. Here are a few examples. The halo effect. This occurs when your impression of one trait influences how you perceive unrelated traits. For instance, if a person is attractive, you might assume they're also intelligent or kind. The availability. Heuristic. System 1 relies on what comes easily to mind when making judgments. For example, after hearing about a shark attack in the news, you might overestimate the danger of swimming in the ocean, even though such events are extremely rare. 3. Anchoring. Kahneman explains how initial information, or an anchor, influences our decisions, even when it's irrelevant. For instance, when asked whether Gandhi lived to be older or younger than 150, most people would provide a guess influenced by the absurd anchor of 150, even though they know it's unrealistic. 4. Loss aversion. We fear losses more than we value gains, a principle central to Kahneman's prospect theory. For example, imagine you're given two options, a guaranteed $500 gain or a 50% chance to win $1,000. Most people choose the sure gain, even though the riskier option has the same expected value. But flip it to losses, guaranteed loss of $500 or a 50% chance to lose $1,000. And most people will gamble. This shows how losses weigh more heavily on our minds than equivalent gains. System 2, the lazy thinker. System 2's deliberate nature makes it a valuable tool for problem solving and analysis, but it is also energy intensive. We often avoid engaging in it, which can lead to poor decision making. Examples of System 2 in action. Solving math problems. When asked to multiply 17 times 24, System 2 takes over, breaking the task into manageable steps. Unlike System 1, which works on instinct, System 2 requires focus and time. Overriding impulses. If someone cuts you off in traffic, System 1 might provoke anger and a desire to retaliate. System 2 intervenes, reminding you to stay calm and avoid escalating the situation. Why System 2 often fails. Ego depletion. Kahneman describes how mental energy is limited. After using System 2 for a demanding task, you're more likely to rely on System 1 for subsequent decisions, increasing the likelihood of errors. For instance, judges are more lenient after lunch breaks because they're mentally refreshed. Key concepts from the book. First, prospect theory. This theory explains how we evaluate risk and make decisions involving uncertainty. Kahneman and Tversky discovered that people are not purely rational actors. We avoid risks when it comes to gains, preferring a sure win, but take risks to avoid losses. For example, if given a choice between a guaranteed $50 or a 50% chance to win $100, most choose the former. But when faced with losing $50 versus a 50% chance to lose $100, most gamble. 2. The two selves. Kahneman distinguishes between the experiencing self, how we feel in the moment, and the remembering self, how we evaluate past experiences. A person undergoing a long, painful medical procedure but experiencing relief at the end is likely to remember the event less negatively than someone who endured a shorter procedure ending poorly. 3. The planning fallacy. We tend to underestimate the time, costs, and risks of future actions while overestimating the benefits. For example, a construction project might be scheduled to finish in 2 years but ends up taking 5. This bias arises because System 1 assumes things will go smoothly without considering potential obstacles. 4. The illusion of understanding. Kahneman explains that we often create coherent stories to explain events, even when we lack evidence. For instance, we might attribute a company's success to a visionary CEO, ignoring factors like luck or market conditions. This leads to overconfidence in our judgments. And here are some practical takeaways. 1. Pause before you act. Recognize when System 1 is in control and take a moment to engage System 2, especially in high-stakes situations. For example, before making a big financial decision, gather data and analyze it logically instead of relying on gut instincts. 2. Challenge your assumptions. Be aware of biases like anchoring and availability. For instance, if you're negotiating a salary, don't let the initial offer dictate your perception of fair compensation. Research industry standards instead. 3. Embrace statistical thinking. System 1 struggles with statistics, often focusing on vivid anecdotes instead. Train yourself to think probabilistically. For example, understanding that a single bad flight doesn't make air travel unsafe can help you overcome irrational fears. 4. Focus on big decisions. Kahneman advises conserving System 2's energy for important choices. Don't waste it on trivial matters like what to wear. Delegate those to System 1. Kahneman's overarching message is clear. While we can't eliminate biases entirely, we can learn to recognize and mitigate them. By understanding the strengths and weaknesses of our two systems, we gain tools to make better decisions, avoid pitfalls, and lead more rational lives. What resonated most with you from this summary? Have you noticed System 1 and System 2 at work in your life? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this detailed summary, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more in-depth explorations of fascinating books. Thanks for watching, and remember, thinking about how you think is the first step toward better decisions.